Welcome back, you beautiful people, to once again another frosty morning on the ice sheet. And this time it is actually morning. It is 3 o'clock. So I guess that could be like really late at night or super early in the morning. And what we've decided to do, start this episode off, is we are just going to start moving the bodies in. And also, one of the Labrador retrievers is now pregnant, so we're going to have a bunch of little pups running around soon, which could be quite useful. I think we will most likely have to sell them off because, yeah, we are not going to be doing great on meat. Corpses fairly soon. Let's actually check where we are on the biorefueling. Yeah, biorefueling now has been researched, so we're going to be turning the bodies into chem fuel anyway. So with that, we're not going to have enough to feed the doggos, unfortunately. So we will need to start moving towards getting rid of them slowly. We'll try to keep some of them alive. I think next step is multi-analyzers, for the simple fact that it just gives us a nice big research speed bonus. Then into sterile materials so that we get another research bonus. And then we'll go into reinforced walls. I reckon that is going to have to be the next shout. So these reinforced walls have pretty much 3 times the hit points of a normal wall, which means that once we start getting into actual shootouts, these just won't fall apart like paper mache. So for us, that is obviously going to be a good thing. So it's a nice, quiet, chilled start with a direction we're going in. And with last episode getting the research for the geothermal generators, I think that we get another one on the go as well. So we're going to mine this area here out. But what we're going to do, because we're being sneaky, is we're going to wall just above here and across. It's going to just be standard boring wall. And then put the geothermal in there, and then also wall across here. So the likelihood is things will then move around and carry on up into our base. This will make it less likely that these get attacked, and then we're going to build some outer walls, and then we're going to have turrets on the inside. So we'll still get a net gain from the geothermal, but if any tribals, and it definitely seems to be tribals that love to go for the geothermals, they are just going to get shredded by the turrets. And got another really good suggestion on this, and it is something that we were thinking about doing, so I appreciate it, is we put the doors in somewhere around here, and then we just go back a little bit, put embrasures in, and then have the turrets. So I think it will go almost like at angles. So door say would be here, comes down, but then we'd have a turret here behind an embrasure, so anything opens the door is going to get shot. Then the second they come around the corner to attack the embrasure will shoot through, and they're in this area, the second turret then can shoot them. Then they get through this bit, and then there'll be another door. Then by the time they get through that door, there's going to be another turret shooting them. And so yeah, it's just going to be a massive kill chamber, which is going to be a lot of fun, just seeing the tribals just fall down running into turrets. Running into machine gun fire is very bad for your survivability. Once again, we have a transport pod crash for another colonist called Chiroi, I guess is probably what it's called. Gear's not very good, so we're just going to leave them to bleed out, and then once they die, feed them to the doggos. And that's basically what we're going to be doing. Unless you're Solarian, you're not joining us. And what I have figured out is that Chachunka series that we had the little trial run on, I think we can do that properly. I found another bunch of mods for it, and it seems to be working pretty sweet. So hopefully next week that will start. And then I'm also thinking about doing an Asari playthrough where everyone is just a bionic, which I reckon is going to be super sweet. Okay, not sure where this has come from, but we have a Royal Mega Spider just wandering around the map. Not going to be super useful, not going to be super dangerous, doesn't have anything really going on, but just odd to see on the ice sheet. Actually, what is your comfortable minimum temperature? So it can survive until -40. That is a lot colder than I thought that Royal Mega Spider would be able to survive to. Not a problem. It's only -35 outside, so that isn't going to do anything, but hopefully it will just eat a couple corpses on the map. Okay, and then there's a Giga Locust. And a bunch of other Royal Mega Spiders. I do not have a Scooby where they came from. I guess they must have just wandered in, but you don't normally get insects wander in on a map, so all a little bit odd. We haven't had an infestation or anything. There's no hives, and do you know what? I think just not overthinking it is probably going to be the best bet. Okay, so it would appear that Labradors aren't quite as good in the cold as Huskies. Who would have guessed? Who would have known? So yeah, we now have a bunch of our Labradors with what is basically just hypothermia. Plan for this is pretty simple. We just get some animal sleeping spots, we put them into here. Now this is what, 36 degrees because we closed the door. Actually we're going to need to have that door open, but that door closed, and hopefully it doesn't then get too hot for the doggos. But we should be able to keep them safe there. And I think now we actually expand the zones. So what the dogs can do is they can move around. So if they get too hot, they can move into the cooler room. If it gets too cold, they can move into the hot room. And when they need food, they can go that way. I'm hoping the AI is good enough on the doggos to keep themselves alive. Or what we could do, if I'm being actually sneaky, and well, I think we'll have to go for granite for this, is we come across here, we come down, and then we deconstruct that steel wall so the dogs can get in and out. I think that's going to be our best bet. We do have an exotics good trader coming in from the security force, so what I'm thinking is we might actually, if we can, we were going to sell the not the Huskies, the Labradors off to them, just to try to keep them safe. And somehow we got some genetic materials. Yeah, that's from breaking down the princesses. Cool, yeah, we're going to sell that off. Oh no, that's not ours, that's theirs. Okay, yeah, no, I'm just chatting absolute rubbish. You can have some lizard skin. Not a massive amount that we want. We're selling off the ammunition we're not using, selling off the couple of the guns that we're not using. We're going to keep hold of the battle rifle for the moment, just in case we get another colonist come in, then we can actually equip them with something. And then we are buying a telescope, just for a little bit more recreation. But unfortunately they would not buy the Huskies, not the Huskies, the Labradors. So we are just going to have to try to keep them safe for the moment. We have found a pristine ruins nearby, but unfortunately it is going to take us 5.2 days to get there, which is a little bit too long for what we want. I was kind of hoping it might be like a 6-hour round trip. If we drop off some of his equipment and gear, maybe he can do it quite quick, but we still wouldn't be saving a massive amount of time, and that is going to be a long time to leave the base. And then once we get there, we're going to have to pick up all of the stuff and bring it back, and well, at that point we'd be moving even slower, so it might take us a week to get back, and we cannot guarantee that firstly we can carry that much food to get there, and then once we're there to have enough food to come back. So unfortunately that is a no-go at the moment, but we'll keep an eye out to see if anything else shows up. Thankfully I just noticed this. Shame that it happened, but we managed to catch it just in time. We don't have any 5.56 rounds, which means our turrets won't work, so we will go for 4,000 on the 5.56, and that is what these guys are going to be using. We're also going to fill them full of armor piercing rounds. They are not the greatest rounds because they're very small caliber with very little penetration, but will shred most mechanoids, and if you have enough firing at them they can still take down a centipede eventually. But against anything in armor up until like decent power armor, these things are gonna do absolutely fine and still be able to shred insects. Not that I'm expecting for us to fight many insects, but as we've seen, sometimes they do show up. And what we'd also need to do, and seeing as we actually have the chance and I'm talking about it, we might as well go ahead. So we're going to reinforce the walls across there, and this one, I think the way we're going to do it, okay, I can't actually do it with the granite at the moment. Cool. This will then become, so these along here will become embrasures, and same on that one and this one, and be the same on this side. And what that will mean is anything that gets through the wall, they've got past the first part of the fence, but then there's also going to be a secondary line of defense on the inside that's going to spray them down, which, if everything goes to plan, is going to be super useful. And the other side, we're not expecting much to actually be able to get through the defenses in this point of the game, so anything that does should be pretty quickly mopped up by the turrets, instead of them being able to like run through here and then burning down all of our supplies, which would be super annoying, and hopefully this way we can prevent that from happening. We do have a manhunting pack of polar bears coming in. Apparently a royal insect spider over here. That was meant to be ours, but then untamed itself, which is fine. If we are quick, we should be able to get the 556 out, and if we can get the 556 out, what we should be able to do then is load the turrets, and then we can see what our little mini turrets are going to be able to do. So now to come in this side, prioritise reloading this steel mini turret here, or the military turret. And yeah, these are not like the ones that you have in vanilla. They're actually pretty decent. So yeah, just shredded that polar bear. And then comes around the corner here, paddock runs away, and yeah, second one down. So turrets in combat extended are actually worthwhile. Pretty good. As soon as paddock ran away, what we do need to do then is change this to attack and then also to self-tend. I didn't realise that he wasn't on self-tend. That might have got us into a little bit of trouble. Paddock has now finished off walling off this area, the one that was talking about at the start of the episode. So with these walls here done, it is going to be safe to put down the geothermal. So we're going to put the geothermal here. Then the way that we're going to wall it is we basically just wall it all in, other than you leave two sections open. So kind of like this, and then we come out just by a little bit. Have the doors here, have this section here unroofed so it doesn't overheat, and then because we're being sneaky and we need to make sure nothing can take it out, we are then going to put some mini turrets on the corners. Then we're going to surround those mini turrets with embrasures, so they're actually going to have to come out by about 4. And I'll have a little play with that until I get how I want it to be, but this should mean that they should all be able to support each other until they come up to this section here. But then 2 of them can support, and then pretty much at any one point 2 of the turrets will always have an overlapping field of fire. Okay, so this is what we're going to settle for at the moment. It will need an extra couple turrets here and here, but these can shoot back to about there, so if anything's up against the wall, then they'll get through, but they can't come through this section or that section without these 2 turrets being able to shoot them. And then if they're out here, 3 turrets can shoot them. If they're up here, even though I don't know why they would be because they'll be in the wall, 4 turrets can shoot them potentially, and same here because they can shoot across, which we kind of don't want because they might take out the other turrets. But yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty safe way to guarantee that the geothermals don't get taken out. Now we could definitely do this a lot smaller, and I think the Mark II version of this is going to be a little bit smaller and tighter, which means that it won't take as much resources and probably offer better defense. But at the moment, this is going to work out pretty well for us. Military turrets aren't too expensive, so we are using 6 of them, but for their resource cost, 170 steel and then 5 components. You know, just for the ease of mind that knowing that this isn't going to get taken out is pretty good going, and their power demands are not super high. So they require 120 watts. This thing kicks out 3,500. So it is a decent chunk of it, but not a massive chunk. And to know that some tribals aren't going to come and take this out on the off chance, I guess it would be, that is really good for us. Secondly, this is also going to offer us a little bit of extra protection in case something comes along here. And then they're going to hit into this first, and then we can just reinforce it. And then it's going to act like a bastion in our defense line, because like I said, we are not going for a standard kill zone. We are going to mix it up a little bit because this is combat extended. It's meant to be difficult, and if we just create a kill zone and our guys have like 50 BMGs, it's not going to be much of a challenge. But we do have starvation. All of the animals are starving. Fantastic. And I think they've eaten all of the corpses on the map. Okay, we've got a couple corpses laying around. Let's go haul those in. It is about time. We got some mechanoids. And 2 lancers. which are nothing to sneeze at. So if we go onto gear, so they're shooting 5x35s, which are decent sized cartridges. Yeah, they can penetrate 30mm of armour, which is considerably more than what we have, and they have a range of 62 with a 0.35 seconds cooldown. So this puts us in a fairly dangerous situation. They're going to be able to outrange our turrets pretty happily, so they're just going to be able to pick them apart. Geothermal is set up but not connected. And we've got a turret there without any rounds of ammunition. So yeah, that's not it's not great for us either. But we do have a weaponsmith coming in from the Orlor Empire, which, if it works out well for us, they'll come around the corner, Lancers will see them, slot them in the face, maybe take out one of these Muffalos, and we might get some money from it. Nope, the Lancers are being annoying and going after our turret. Now, we could leave the turret be and not risk paddock, but I want to try out the 50. The 50 is going to absolutely shred the Lancers, and the Lancers have already fired off their shots. So they got a little while to reload. And don't actually do a massive amount of damage, but if they hit something, they do a crazy amount. So we got the Empire is going to be fighting this Lancer with their crazy powerful bows. Mate, that is a shot and a half, which done no damage. Cool. Okay, Paddock took the first one. We come back around the corner, try to get in somewhat close, and we will have the advantage over that Lancer. But yeah, if you see the Lancer shoot, which it might do if it's not just running around like crazy, it can usually just slot things in one hit, just like blow off limbs. And it's down. Cool. Didn't have too much to worry about there, which is quite good for us. We would have liked a couple of them to die because, well, then we could have fed them to the doggos. We'll haul these in. We're not too worried about what's out here. This will be finished up nice and soon. And then we'd have a second geothermal. With that, we definitely take out the wind turbines, and then we put in a hydroponics in like this area. So this will be the third slaver that has come in, and we're sending Paddock straight over. All of the other slavers literally came onto the map and left pretty much straight away because it went down to about -58. So they literally spawned in straight after each other, and then both of them basically walked onto the map and then walked straight off, which is a little bit annoying, but we are going for it this time because they have Yukar. And are you going to be any good? Cold intolerant. He's going to suck so bad. But it is an extra Solarian, and we should be able to sort his stats out a little bit. So, can't shoot very well, but, you know, not an issue. Can melee, can't really construct. Can do animals, can craft, artistic, medical, and social. Now, that isn't a perfect colonist by any means. That's definitely not. And is also cold intolerant. So that's not great. Masochist. Okay. Exciting about getting hurt, which might actually work quite well. And efficient. So plus 20% work speed and 20% learning factor. Like I said, not going to be amazing. But we do need to start getting some more colonists. And with a little bit of tinkering, we should be able to get him actually pretty decent. We'll set off the stuff that we don't need, try to make some money, and then hopefully be able to afford him. So the only way for us to get enough money was we had to set off all of the Frumbo meat, which is fine because that still leaves us with a whole bunch of insect meat, and the Solarians like eating that. So we now have one new colonist who is up for grabs. Anyone want to name Yukar? Feel free. And Yukar has already got Hypothermia Sirius. Right. I think he is going to have a very bad time here. I don't really want to give him a bedroom just yet, so we're going to turn Paddock's room into a barracks for the moment. So he'll sleep in here where it is nice and warm. And then we need to look to moving this so that we can actually start rejigging the base. because we're going to need some proper hydroponics, which also means we're going to need a proper rec room, a proper kitchen instead of this makeshift thing abomination over here. That needs to get finished, and that all seems like things for the next episode. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Conzi. All your likes, comments, sub support have been amazing. You know what you need to do for the algorithm, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.